So welcome everyone, and welcome to our wonderful co-host Cass. And I just wanted to give a quick history of how this podcast started. We met 20 years ago at a conference, have maintained our friendship ever since. And I became a regular guest just listening to another podcast that she hosts every Saturday morning. And 2 years ago, I was at a conference, a different conference in Dallas, and on Thursday she texted me saying, "Hey, my Saturday guest can't make it. Can you just get on and we'll talk about how women support each other? You know, we support each other, and Cass and I are as different on paper as you can imagine, but our friendship is become a sisterhood." I said, "Yeah, I can hop on." And so I was in my hotel room, just a hotel background, there in my bed and all that. And so we're talking about how women support each other, where we want to blow the stereotype that women don't help each other, blow that out of the water. And all of a sudden, during this live on TV, Cass all of a sudden said, "You know what? We are going to make a podcast called Women Investing in Women, and you are going to be my co-host, and we're going to start it next month for Women's History Month." This is 2 years ago. And I said, "Okay, sounds good." So she had all the apparatus to get a graphic going, getting everything all set up. And the very first guest that we had was a woman a nun that had helped Cass. Cass grew up in Sri Lanka. She had fled Sri Lanka as a teenager during the Civil War, and this nun took her in. And so this nun was our very first guest, and it's like coming full circle. It was just so amazing. And the nun is in India. Amazing. And the other amazing thing is after Cass and I got done with that podcast where she said, "We're going to start this podcast about women," I went downstairs. I was a volunteer at this conference that I was attending. And there's just chatting with people, and the women at the front of the line said, "Well, tell me about what you do." She said that she helps women. Women get Alzheimer's more than men do, and that she does research and she does things to help women to help prevent Alzheimer's. And I said, "Well, you know what? We have a podcast called Women Investing in Women. You can be a guest on our program." And ever since then, I've just been meeting and finding about all kinds of people. And I just contact them and say, "Be a guest." Well, actually, in 2024, so that was 2 years ago, I live in the Los Angeles area, and they have the new economics for women, and then it's a women's business center within there. And they were having Women's History Month symposium. And so I was one of the leaders in the symposium. And the topic that I chose to talk about was women in history acting as role models for leadership. And so the principles of leadership that I talked about were meaning, belonging, and collaboration. And the women that I chose were Joan of Arc, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Katharine Graham, who ran the Washington Post when the Pentagon Papers and the Watergate scandal broke. And then Makala, and I know I say her name wrong.
Malala Yousafzai.
Yeah. Anyway, she was the young girl who the Taliban shot her in the head because she insisted on going to school, but she survived, and now she's an advocate. And so I just thought is really, really, I just wanted to share this with you, that there are so many women in history that are doing great things to help further women in the world, and we're standing on their shoulders.
Thank you so much for kicking this off, Robin. And ladies, welcome to another episode of Women Investing in Women. This is a special show because we are entering our third year. We have been able to do this and get to the third year because of all of you and a larger community that is behind us that we're building. And our goal here is to go from getting to know each other, working with each other, supporting each other, to the next stage of co-creating. We're living in a patriarchy. Patriarchy doesn't work for children. It doesn't work for society. It doesn't work for environment. And matriarchy is not the polar opposite of patriarchy. Matriarchy is about putting the children and the environment first and creating sustainability in a nurturing way. So we have a responsibility to show what that looks like and show up in a way to support each other, lift each other up, and be seen in places doing things together. And so as we enter year three, that is my goal. That is my dream. That is the journey I'm inviting all of you into. Let's just make some, as they say, positive noise, positive trouble. And let's make this work for us because every human in this world came from one of us. Women are the reason why every human walks this earth. So let's make that count. And with that, I am going to open it up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jasmine Brett Stringer. I was actually invited to the podcast, of course, by Robin. Robin and I both obtained our master's in positive psychology from the University of Pennsylvania. I think I did the podcast in late fall of 2025. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, but I'm currently in Scottsdale, Arizona, where we're working for the month, escaping the last bit of winter. And it's a delight to be here. And I'll say happy third anniversary.
So yeah, I think the story is similar, isn't it? So Robin got me on one of the platforms that we both are together. It's called Leadership Global, run by Linda Fest. The reason I got onto that platform last year was because I wanted to go global. So a quick introduction about myself is that in the last 7, 8 years, after the 25 years of a technology career here in India, I decided to do some work in the space of women and women leaders, largely because as all of us will believe, there's no dearth of skills and capabilities in women. That is just the mindsets that keep us behind. We want to be perfect. We want to kind of know everything before we put up our hands for anything. So I wanted to do some work around the mindsets of women, and which I think I've fairly successfully done in India, and I wanted to take it global. So I got onto this platform, and I had written about the 6 month program that I run, which is called Trailblazers. I think that just got Robin's attention, and she said, "We would like to host you." And you know, please tell us about Trailblazers. And so we did that, and it was such an interesting conversation beyond Trailblazers, right? And yes, the better part was meeting Kas in person in India. I mean, who would have imagined that to happen? So thank you for this opportunity and lovely connecting with all of you.
Thank you so much, Nirja. And it was such a joy meeting you in Bangalore just 3, 4 weeks ago. What a small world it is.
Morning, ladies. What an honor to be here. Magic always happens when women gather, so I'm here for it. I was lucky enough to meet these ladies and be a guest last year when I was doing a lot of work for Fair Trade, which empowered women globally to leave the sex trade or not choose which kid eats for the day when women here in the States shop. So grateful to do that work. And now I've expanded. I started leading retreats for women to go overseas. And I found out that so many women here in the States have their own hopes and dreams, but 90% of us are currently in burnout, according to research. And so now my passion is also pouring into women in the States. And so for the past year, I've expanded to serve women here in the States through coaching retreats and also what I founded called the Radiant Life Collective, which is where women come together and we really live into, not someday, right, having better health or better marriages or better relationships with our kids, but right now, how do every single month we make progress, those little 3 millimeter shifts that really lead to massive transformation over time. So women are living all out, not playing small and hoping for change. Because when we live our best lives, we impact our families, our communities, and the world. So grateful to be here and part of the conversation.
Thank you so much, Erin. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Same.
Melissa, let's hear from you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. It's really lovely to be here. I'm an Australian based in the UK. I came over here almost 25 years ago next month for a 6 month contract, met my husband and never went back. Having said that, going back to Australia, I came from, 3 very flawed fathers, 2 incredibly strong mothers, and finding adventure in life on this side of the world. So one of the passions in my world. I work in industry, I sell software, but what I recognize is that there are very few women still at the various levels of my business, and I'm the only female in my team, for example. So one of my quests in life is to lead the way for women and young girls, to help them into tech careers and throughout tech careers as well, because juggling those careers and raising a family, still much of it resides on women, and I want to be the person leading the way, showing the way, but helping other women as well to know that there's a way that they can make it all work. They can't have it all, but they can have it more these days. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you for joining us.
I had the pleasure. I met Robin through Up Level Social app, and she reached out to me. I'm not exactly sure what I was posting, but probably something with tech and inspirational, and invited me to be on the podcast, which I believe it aired in August of 2025. So a little bit about me with tech. I have always been very intrigued with tech, especially in healthcare, of how can we make optimal for every one of us. And I was taught by an aunt, a woman leader, and from that, I have always strived to help women grow, because I've had beautiful women help me along the way. The journey certainly has not been by myself. I've had the great pleasure. I created a health information tech app in around 2016, and it was a national award winner. Been involved in a variety of different tech builds, from EMR platforms to being one of the first to build a PHR and blockchain. And so just a variety of different things, like even from back in the day, for putting in facsimile machines into medical offices when faxes were new, and setting up all the Gmails or just different accounts, of knowing tech really just gave each one of us, the opportunity for a better outcome for decisions being made. So it's a little bit about me, and I currently serve as a chairperson for a healthcare association, and we have our convention in July, and it's just been so wonderful. For so many of our speakers are definitely 60% of women, and with our keynote speaker being Dr. Rachel Seidler. She's the director of University of Florida Astrea Space Institute, and just real excited that just even when each woman said yes, it was very impactful and powerful, of like, wow, thank you, of just elevating each other. And so very, very grateful for that, and just so thrilled to be a part of today. Happy anniversary. And I know there's going to be many, many more years to come. So I appreciate you ladies very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. We appreciate you so much.
Always a challenge getting off mute on the phone. Adriana Dakin, and I met Robin about 2 years ago at the Powerful Living Experience. So similarly around this positive intelligence and mindset work, and that's been really key in my work with helping women social entrepreneurs at a deeper level than I could. I've been involved in this work for quite a while, and worked with young women. I was on the board of Young Women Social Entrepreneurs for 10 years out of San Francisco, and did a master's in public policy degree at Harvard in international security, negotiation, and leadership. But it's really deepened with this mindset and nervous system regulation work. And right now I'm incredibly excited that last week I started a YouTube channel where, after several years of working with leaders one-to-one, with impact leaders, many of whom are women, one-to-one and in groups, in workshops, just session after session, that all have been incredibly powerful and moving, that I can now gain traction sharing this with collaborators on YouTube. And we just got our first tech platform sponsor to work on this with us, and we're launching something called the Impact Workroom, where we'll have sprints and pomodoros with mindset and nervous system regulation breaks, where people come in and help share what they know and help people come back to center and then be able to work together. So there's less isolation and less burnout, and more momentum and group collaboration and connection. So real vibrance, like the rest of you are talking about. And I'd love to connect with each of you and talk in more depth, and get together and do this work together. And I'm also a strategist and partnership specialist in a community foundation where I live. I'm 2 hours north of San Francisco, and we're a majority women staff, and we're helping. This county has so many nonprofits, tribes that are rejuvenating their culture and their language here in this northern Pomo region. And so we're working with tribes and schools and special districts and just really doing our best to help get resources to those who need it and who've been historically marginalized. And women are some of those. So I'm just incredibly excited to hear what's next, where we can collaborate together. And I feel like part of my self-expression as a woman is as a ceramic artist and a textile artist. So my Saturdays are all about art and making art, and then expressing it and sharing it on Instagram to help inspire others. So it's this whole blend that's somehow coming together and working out. And I feel like it's not ADHD. It's it's something that's a tapestry and that can just get better by more collaboration with others.
Thank you so much, Adriana. Such a joy to hear all of that.
Yes, and thank you for inviting me here. It's wonderful to celebrate with you. And yes, I think Robin and I met back in 2023, back in the Leadership Global community. So we've been hanging out for a while now, and it's always wonderful. And the main thing I do is create multi-author books to give women opportunities to share their story, share their wisdom, become published authors. So my books are collections of women from all over the world, each one sharing her own journey, what she's learned along the way, and sharing words of wisdom to help other women on their journey. And Robin has just joined us in one of my new books called Rooted in Resilience. So if anyone has a story they feel fits in that, I would love to have you join us. And I'm on the west coast of Canada, near Vancouver.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
And Cass, I pulled up our information about Precious, and she has vesselsofvirtue.org, and the title of her interview with us was From Homeless to CEO: How One Woman Turned Tragedy into Purpose and Empowered a Generation. Really, really powerful story. And so we'll send. Actually, we have sent the link to all of the different
Women in the community.
Yeah, all the women. But we'll especially tag hers since she isn't able to unmute. But it is a very, very powerful story. So awesome.
Absolutely moving story. Thank you so much, Precious.
Hello, I'm Christine Fells, and I'm Robin's sister. And I've known her since she was born, because I'm 5 years older. And I first met Cass when Robin invited my husband and me to be on her Goldilocks show and talk about our company, Wyoming Authentic Beef. And so he got to be on the show too. And it's something we've enjoyed doing together. But my real life is I am a mother of 11 children. I have 32 grandchildren, and I now have 3 great-grandchildren. So I was a stay-at-home mom for 42 years. And then I started helping my husband with his business. And at first I was overwhelmed, but then I realized everything I'd learned running a home could help him run his business. And so I have learned a lot and really enjoyed that. The second time, well, actually the first time, Women Investing in Women, Robin invited me to talk about what I call my 13 choices for high self-esteem. And this is something that I've been working on for many, many years. It all started with when my son was in a drug rehab, and a girl asked, "Do you have high self-esteem? Can you tell me how to get it?" And so that was the beginning of me putting my thoughts down. So I am an author. I'm a songwriter. I am multitasking all the time, although I've read that you shouldn't multitask. You should just stick with one thing at a time. But my first writing was under the title of Woman, Wife, Mother. because I thought when I got married and had children, that would completely fulfill me. And then I realized, no, I'm still me. I have to do things. I have to, be creative. I have to just be myself and reach other people. And so that's when I started writing. So that's something else I enjoy.
Thank you so much, Kristen.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Janice Lombardo. I am a certified end-of-life doula, and I met Cass directly because I had entered Robin Hall Greider's speakers talent look, whatever it was. It was like 2-3 years ago already, which just blows my mind that it's been that long. I became an end-of-life doula because of everything that I've been through with my mom. I was her primary caregiver along with my dad for 8 years, and I used to have a very unhealthy fear of death and dying. And like many, many folks on this planet, we don't talk about it. We don't really do anything about it. If you're affiliated with a specific religion, there are traditions that just, someone dies, there's a funeral, and then you go on with your life. So I knew in my heart, especially after everything I went through with my mom, that it was not healthy and it really needed to change. So back in April of 2020, I was actually going to drive to Michigan, take a 4-day intensive to become an end-of-life doula, and the pandemic hit. So I ended up taking an online course for certification through IAP College, got my certification, and all of the synchronicities and all of the folks that I have met along the way in these last 5.5 years have helped me to be a better educator, better talk, better getting folks to understand that end of life is just part of the story. Ignoring it, leaving it for your loved ones to handle after you're gone is just not good for anybody, especially for them. So what I've been working on, because I am still primary caregiver to my now 88-year-old aunt and my 91-year-old father who I live with, I've become more of a caregiver. So I'm seeing end of life through a caregiver's perspective as well. It's a lot of work. It's a lot to grasp. But every single situation that I deal with, I learn something from, and I pass that knowledge on to others. So I named my business My Angel Janice because my mother always told everyone I wouldn't still be here if it weren't for my angel Janice. So this is a passion project for me, and I'm still navigating it just like everyone else. But the more we talk, the more we bring together. So plan for end of life and then go out and live your best life now. Lovely meeting you. Happy anniversary, Cass. 3 years. Fabulous. I can hardly wait to see what happens next.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. And Janice, you and I have had a lot of conversations because I actually am the primary caregiver, sole caregiver to a husband who's at end of life, and it has been an 8.5-year journey of deterioration. So I have had an amazing support system. Robin has come to Belize, where I take care of my husband in the Caribbean, and spend time with me. Women come there and they work with me. We do things in the community. So it is truly amazing to have this community, because research shows that the quality of life for a woman is 100% predicated on her sisterhood. The strength, presence, and the support of our sisterhood is what makes our life. Those of us who are lucky have very, very good husbands. I am one of those women. I wouldn't trade a single moment with my husband for anything else. But life happens, right? And as we go through life, men are wired a certain way, women are wired a certain way. Only another woman totally gets us. And so this community is so important for each of us and the lives we touch, because we're taking a piece of each of us into where we go. And Robin started off saying we stand on the shoulders of other women who went before us. we're also holding hands and standing with the women who are walking with us, right? So I want us to remember how powerful and how deeply meaningful this is. And Robin had mentioned that I was a child who grew up in Sri Lanka. So I grew up in Sri Lanka when it was like the Gaza Strip. As a 16-year-old, I took my siblings and left home. Women from the slums, women who were nuns, women in the community took us in. The nuns allowed me to bring 30 children from the slums to put them through school, and in return, they let us go to school. I have a PhD today, but this would not have happened if everyone in the slum, every nun in that convent didn't take me in. And I was a Hindu child, right? I understood Christianity. We were raised to understand all of it in Sri Lanka. But it took so many women coming together to allow me the opportunity to become who I am and allow me the opportunity to raise 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, who are engineer, doctor, and a technologist, and we're all doing well. Not because my parents were wealthy, they were, but their assets were frozen. So money doesn't matter in certain cases. It's who stands by you and who lifts you up that matters. And we all have that opportunity to do that. And that is one of the reasons why I had Sister Joanita as my first guest, because who would think a teacher and a nun is somebody who lifts women up? This woman has lifted women up for more than 45 years. And I thought, why not? Why not honor her? And I had the joy of spending a whole week with her just last month. So it is a 40-year relationship. We've kept in touch. And this is the power of sisterhood. It doesn't matter what we do. And in honor of all of this, Robin and I are excited to share our news. We are going to kick off an annual book writing as under the main heading, Women Investing in Women. And each woman gets to pick how she does that. And what we want to do is have every woman tell her story and then pair that woman up with others who need that story in their life. Get women into conferences, get women into forums, get women into open spaces, not just in the United States, globally. And one of the announcements I have from my perspective, since everybody is sharing about what you're doing, with my husband's situation and where I am in life, I have established a not-for-profit trust where all my assets are going to be bequeathed. Because I am here because so many countless people who I will never see again made my life possible. So I've established a not-for-profit trust that is truly global. We have about 10 countries signed up to have programs, and it's going to focus on youth, educators, and women. Youth are our future. And if we're going to invest in youth as our future and shape a better world where children grow up knowing each other, engaging with each other, and building relationships with each other, they're never going to hate one another. If we want peace and we want lasting prosperity, then we need to take away the fear and the unknown, which then results in anger and hate, and then people being preconditioned to believe whatever we're told. I'm a child of the world. Wherever I'm staying the night is my home. And I understand how easy that is when you know people. But when you don't know people, it's a scary proposition. And so I want this to be about the kids, youth from all ages. So we already have youth ambassadors starting pre-teenagers all the way to college students from different parts of the world. And if we're going to support the youth and build a better future, with incubation, with opportunities for them to take their ideas and bring it to the world, then we're going to need educators to support them. And we're going to need women to stand by them because women are raising them. Women are creating an environment to make this kind of transformation possible. So any of you ladies who want to be a part of this movement, through the not-for-profit, anything you're doing, we want to be able to bring it globally, get you engaged in global activities, run women's retreats in different kinds of places, whether it's Belize, whether it's in India, whether it's in Sri Lanka, whether it's in Ghana or Cameroon, it doesn't matter. But then the not-for-profit is also going to fund everybody's travel and going to get everybody to get paid for what they are doing. because too often we women are asked to do things for free. The world has gotten so used to women's work being free. Even we as women expect one another to help each other for free. And as a finance executive, as somebody who's been in international finance and fintech for 36 years, I'm dating myself now. I'm always the only woman in the crowd, right? I'm a technologist and a finance executive. Got into management role at 21, became a CFO at 32, got inducted into Who's Who for FinTech last year in March. That was my birthday gift and Women's Month gift from the universe gave me. But I still find myself not only the only woman, a lot of people expect everything for free. So instead of saying, I can't do it for free, let's create a culture where we support one another and we cover the woman's cost and we celebrate the women and we lift each other up. Because if we are all doing things for free, we are never, ever going to raise the bar for ourselves. And if we keep our wealth in our ecosystem, one of the things I learned working for Warren Buffett companies does business with only Warren Buffett companies. So they keep it in the ecosystem, right? What if we as global women keep it in our ecosystem and invite each other to come and engage with us? Our ecosystem expands, we thrive, and as we thrive, we can touch more lives and we celebrate one another. To me, that is the ultimate of women investing in women. And so I am inviting every one of you who are here, every one of you who are listening to this, who are part of our community, please reach out. Ennoble Rice Global Trust is the name of the trust. And I am personally going to be bequeathing my assets to that. And that will include finding not-for-profits and partnering with them. We're not going to reinvent everything. We're going to bring the right people in. We're going to collaborate and we're going to support one another and let each other shine and in the process thrive. And then we're also going to write. We're going to write our stories. We're going to memorialize because the women and boys and girls who come in the future need to read this. Boys need to read this too, because we need to stop focusing only on girls. I'm a believer that we need to raise our boys to be emotionally intelligent, present, so that when we are raising empowered women who can go and be successful in a patriarchy, as we slowly bring matriarchy into the domain, we need to raise our boys to be equal strategic partners who are present and centered emotionally for themselves and everybody else. So I invite all of you to join us in this movement. This is not something I am doing. This is something we are doing as a human society. So let's do it together and let's join forces. And I cannot wait to hear from all of you to see who all want to be a part of it. How do you see being a part of it? Because I want to make sure every woman shows up in her power. And she has every right to be in alignment with who she is. She doesn't have to become something she's not in order to participate. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of the Women Investing in Women community. Thank you for being a support system for one another. And let's go out there and shake up the world in a very loving, nurturing, and sustainable way.